Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to our Foreign Investment Friday podcast. My name is Hector Aguilar with eXp Realty here in Southern California. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming one of our very own, Gonzalo Jaramillo. Gonzalo Jaramillo is with Taanxel Realty, brokered by eXp Realty in Mexico. And I'm excited to have Gonzalo on today because we're going to talk a little bit about demystifying or some of the myths about investing south of the border, right? That's kind of our theme for today. Before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Gonzalo. Gonzalo has 4.5+ years in the real estate industry in Cancun, Tulum sector specifically. He's certified as a realtor through the Mexican government. He's also licensed in the state of Quintana Roo. And for those of you that don't know where Cancun is, it's actually in the state of Quintana Roo. He's got 21 years experience working with Coca-Cola, and his main focus there was field marketing. He's also been a consultant now for 9 years with Coca-Cola. His educational background, he's got an MBA from Thunderbird, Arizona. So he went to school here in the United States. He's very familiar with, the United States and Arizona. And so he's very familiar with that. He also has a bachelor's from Universidad Panamericana in Mexico. So very well educated, tons of experience. Gonzalo, first and foremost, thank you for making the time to be with us today. I'm excited to have you on today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks a lot, Hector. I'm really excited and thanks a lot for your invitation. And well, I'm a Mexican City born. I was born in Mexico City,
Okay.
and then I have 4.5 years here in Cancun, and I'm here with my wife. We put we settled a real estate agency here,
Oh, okay. So
and
Taanxel Realty is you and your wife.
yeah, and she has been in the sector for about 7 years,
Okay,
so she's the experienced one.
wonderful. Well, not a
Yeah,
bad move from Mexico City to Cancun. I'm a little jealous.
yeah,
A little jealous. Cancun is beautiful. It's one of my wife and I, our favorite spot, our family's favorite spot to vacation for various reasons, but Cancun definitely has a special place in my heart. So it must be nice leaving Mexico City and moving to Cancun. Not a bad move.
no, not a bad move. And
Not a
well,
bad-
you can see the sea.
Oh, of course.
It's
The
really
colors, the Caribbean
beautiful.
waters,
Yeah,
and all that Cancun and Tulum, that whole region has to offer, is just spectacular. So, thank you again for making the time. Our theme for today is myths about investing south of the border. Right?
yeah,
There's so many concepts, so many ideas, so many conversations about moving to Mexico. We know that Americans, North Americans, especially snowbirds and North Americans in Canada, have been and are now making their way in droves by the hundreds of thousands to different parts of Mexico. One of, if not the top place that they're going to, is Cancun and Tulum,
yeah.
right? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about maybe demystifying some of the myths that are surrounding investing south of the border, right? There's so many things that we could talk about.
Yes.
So I've got a presentation that we're going to go through here sheet by sheet, and go ahead, Gonzalo. Let's go ahead and take it away. I know that you mentioned that you and your wife opened a real estate agency, and that's your wife there, Claudia. So nice to see her there.
Yeah.
And tell us, what about the Cancun, Tulum area kind of attracted you to start a new real estate brokerage there in Cancun?
Well, there's as you say, Hector. Thanks a lot for the introduction. And well, there's a lot of people coming here. The weather is beautiful. The ocean also, and well, we are having many customers from the States and from
Mhm.
Canada, and we are hearing them, and that's why we are like knowing about their thoughts and
Mhm.
their concerns about being here.
Correct.
So there's a lot of things that are great here.
Mhm.
So it's really attractive to be here. And
Fantastic.
for winter Texans, there's
Oh,
there will
without a
be
doubt.
winter Cancun.
Winter Cancun is way better than any North American winter. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that for sure. Well, let's get started. Obviously, let's talk about the first myth, right?
yeah.
Most people, of course, know what's south of the border, but tell us, what is south of the border?
Yeah, well, it's the myth number one. I can tell you, but first of all, our official name of the country is the United Mexican States.
Correct.
So we're
In Spanish is Estados Unidos Mexicanos.
yeah, so we
Amen.
are also the United States, but in of Mexico. That's
Correct.
our official name, and
Yes.
we're the number one partner of the U.S. Talking about commercial things.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And we are also uh, um, the number one country where Americans live abroad.
Correct. The
So
number one destinations for Americans to live abroad. You're absolutely right.
yeah, and we are in North America. That's kind of surprise for a lot of
Right? When
people.
someone thinks south of the border, yes, we're thinking Mexico, we're thinking Central and South America. But the truth is, Mexico compromises part of North America. So absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, we're south of North America.
Correct. We're the
And,
southern
and
tip. It's the southern tip of North America. So yes,
yeah,
it is part of the North America.
and sometimes that's like that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Right.
That's the usual answers that we got.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well, tell us a little bit about the United States and obviously the partner with the U.S. is the number one. It's the
yeah.
number one America's abroad. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, like for example, right now we have a thing about offshoring, and the all the companies that move to China,
Uh huh.
they're seeking about a nearest point to be there. So the border of Mexico, we have like 3,000 kilometers of border.
Border.
So it's very important for both of us to be there. For
So, in
example,
a sense, what you're saying is there's many manufacturers and companies that maybe would have had operations in China. They're now looking to relocate and maybe make Mexico their main location just because they're so close to the United States.
and because the top management can live in, for example, in San Diego, and they
Mm,
can work in Tijuana,
correct.
so
Correct.
they can go back and forth in the same day.
Right. Right. Right.
So the family can stay in the U.S., but they are going
And they
to
operate in Mexico, in
they operate.
Tijuana, or same thing could be said for like El Paso and Ciudad Juarez and
Yeah,
other border towns.
yeah,
Awesome.
and
Awesome.
that's
I know
and that,
Mexicali has a big influence of what we call naves industriales, which is warehouses, right?
yeah,
Where many companies are operating. Some of the top companies that I know of is like Volkswagen de Mexico. They're out in Puebla.
yeah.
There's many other wonderful companies that are choosing to be
General Motors is in Saltillo,
General
and
Motors and Saltillo. Good.
yeah, and in also in Guanajuato, and there's a lot of the automobile industry is moving here,
Correct.
so we are like sharing this
That's
with the
awesome. That's
US.
awesome. So Mexico is definitely on expanding economically and also globally, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, let's talk a little bit about myth number two, right? We put Pirates of the Caribbean and Mexico, right? Like, tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about why that myth.
Well, the myth is because well they can imagine Mexico south of the border,
Right,
but in the Caribbean, well, the thing is that the eastern part of southeast Mexico is at the Caribbean.
correct.
And actually, well, many pirates like Francis Drake was here, and he was like fighting with the Spaniards, and well, there are a lot of legends. But actually, we have the Caribbean Sea in all of the Quintana Roo state beach.
Yeah, when
Beach,
we
for
think
instance,
about it and
is
we look at that little point there in the red circle, I mean, that's pretty much Quintana Roo, and all of that is the beginning of the Caribbean Sea. I mean, yes, the Gulf of Mexico is there, little different waters, but once you get south of Quintana Roo, I mean, all those waters are the reason why we love to go to Cancun, right? To get that Caribbean tropical sun, that warm weather, and that beautiful water, right? The Caribbean water.
yeah, yeah. That's the main thing.
So let's talk about myth number three, right? Cancun is just an Instagrammable place, right? Everybody puts something on Instagram about Cancun, Tulum, Riviera Maya, Playa Riviera, like, Isla Mujeres. Tell us a little bit about why that's just a myth.
Well, although there is actually a spotlight to take your picture and then put it in Instagram,
Right.
and that's true.
I'm
But
I'm guilty. My family and I have taken plenty of pictures at that location there.
yeah, yeah, and to share with the family and your friends, it's really okay, and it's actually real.
Right.
But we are more like than that.
Correct. Correct.
For
And I gotta be
example,
honest with you, like that beach that you see behind this sign, you guys, it is spectacularly beautiful. It's probably my favorite beach in the whole Cancun Strip, and
yeah,
it's a public beach. It's not even a private beach,
no, no,
which is
it's a
awesome. You could take
yeah,
your picnic baskets there. You can take your whole family there. You don't even have to be staying in a local hotel there. That beach right there is amazing. I got to tell you myself.
it's amazing. It's amazing. You're right. And but we are more than that. For example,
Correct.
we have a great weather from 75 to 89 degrees Fahrenheit
Hmm.
all year. So that's awesome. In December, it's a value thing.
Well, one of the best times to go to Cancun, in my opinion, is like October, November, December, January, and February, and even March, right?
Yeah,
Because the humidity is down, and like you say, the temperature is somewhere in the mid 70s, maybe lower 80s. There are some thunder clouds that come through, but the skies are blue, and it's in my opinion the best time weather-wise to
yeah,
go to
yeah,
Cancun. Now,
absolutely.
the other months you could tell me that they're just as beautiful. You're going to experience a little bit of humidity, a little bit more than the other months, but it's still, in the climate is amazing in Cancun.
Yeah, and well, during the day it's really okay, and well, during the night, well, it's still hot, but
Hmm.
then you can go to your hotel room and you have air conditioner, or
Correct.
you can go to a restaurant or whatever you are going to do to be, you are going to have an air conditioner, so
Correct.
you're okay.
Cancun is a beautiful place and it offers amazing weather. I think that's one of the reasons why so many Canadians and North Americans, snowbirds in particular, and Europeans too. There are a lot of
Yeah,
Europeans flock to Cancun because of the just the year-round inclement weather. That's just one of the best things about Cancun, in my opinion.
yeah, and we're the main city of the Mexican Caribbean.
The main city of the Mexican Caribbean.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
we have like 1 million inhabitants here in Cancun.
Wow.
So
So
that's
it's
that.
definitely a large city.
Yeah, and we're host of 20 million tourists per year,
Wow.
and we have 120 direct flights worldwide.
Just from
So
all over the world,
all
120
over the
direct
world
flights.
comes here, and we have 120 direct flights. Also, we have 130,000 hotel rooms with an 80% of occupation. So
That's year round, 80%.
yeah, year
Wow.
round it's 80%. So it's incredible. It's like um, we, it's an invitation to come here to visit and to invest.
Awesome. Awesome.
And well, tourists come here to scuba diving, to be in the Mayan ruins,
Mhm.
and to be in the natural parks. So there's a lot of attractions here.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I mean, I like Xcaret, Excel, Shelha. I mean, so many things to do. And then you have, I think it's over 1,000 different cenotes throughout the region.
Yeah,
Those are beautiful as well. So there's so many things to do in Cancun, so many
so many
attractions.
things. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about myth number four. Cancun is just for the holidays.
Yeah. Well, although we are really a great place, a great destination for having a vacation. Well, there's more than that.
Right.
Um, and well, I can share some data. For example, there's 8 million Americans come here
8
yearly.
million Americans. Wow.
8 million Americans, and there are a lot, like around 50 direct flights um, from the U.S. only from the U.S. So it's kind of interesting. It's
It's
a
definitely
great.
one of the destinations that's most sought after by in America. Where you
Yeah,
going? Cancun. There's a few top places like Cancun is number one. Now that they opened up a new airport in Tulum, I think Tulum's going to be close second, right? It's still part of the Quintana Roo region there.
yeah,
I think that number three would probably be Los Cabos. You would probably think like maybe Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo, La Paz is one of the other amazing locations, and there's so many others. But at the very top is always Cancun and Tulum. So,
yeah. And there's a well for example for spring breakers there's uh, many advantage. For example,
oh, absolutely. The
here
first thing is in Mexico, of course, everyone can drink at 18 years old, right? I don't
yeah
know if that's
they can
necessarily a
be an
bad
adult.
thing or a
Yeah,
good thing, but it's the truth that in Mexico, once you turn 18, you can have a beer,
yeah.
right?
If you're 18, you're okay.
Yeah,
So many spring breakers come here because of that advantage. We are also home of the Corona beer.
correct.
Yeah, and
Mexico's
also
is that Mexico's top selling beer, Corona?
yeah, of course,
Oh,
sixty
fantastic.
percent of the market is Corona.
Corona.
Yeah,
Nice.
and well, although there's the number one destination for spring breakers, we have like I said, 8 million Americans coming here.
Hmm.
We have a 42 direct flights, and we're like less than 5 hours hours flight from LA.
Yep, it's
So
super
we're
close.
very close.
Yep.
And from Florida, it's like 1 hour.
Yeah, Florida is probably like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
I have
we
a friend of mine, she lives in Houston, and it took her like 2 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes to fly from Houston to Cancun.
yeah,
Super
but
close.
it's closer Miami to Cancun than Mexico City.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay, nice. Well,
and well, that's why there's an opportunity to invest in real estate.
mhm, because of
There's
the
so
demand.
many advantages.
Yeah, and there's so much demand, it looks like,
Yeah, and well, it's beautiful.
without a doubt. I mean, if you're going to invest in real estate and have this as your beach, why not?
Yeah,
So let's talk about myth number five. Most Americans think that you can't buy in Mexico, and that can be so further from the truth. Tell us about that.
yeah. Well, and there's always like, why going out, why going abroad? I can understand it's kind of difficult. Maybe there's too many regulations. Well, Americans, yes, they can buy here, and well, there was a law that in all Mexico it's going to be like indirectly ownership,
Hmm.
but after 1992 there was the law
An
was
amendment?
amended, and then there's a restricted zone.
Right.
It's like 32 miles from the beach and 64 miles from the border
Okay.
that Mexicans or Mexicans Americans can buy directly.
And they can buy in their name, they'll own it in their name. So tell us a little bit about. So when I see Mexican American, myself, tu servidor,
Yeah,
yours truly, I'm Mexican American, right? I was born here in the United States. My father is from Michoacan. I've recently been approved to get my Mexican nationality, so I'm going to have a Mexican passport, and I'll be a Mexican citizen because of a new law that just passed, or a recent law that passed, where first generation children of Mexicans citizens can now become Mexican citizens as well. So I would qualify as a Mexican American, and I could purchase in that restricted zone in my direct name without having to have what's called a bank trust or a fideicomiso. So for a foreigner, tell us a little bit what the difference is. What's the difference for a foreigner?
well, for a foreigner, because of this law, they cannot have directly the
Title.
property. They
Mhm.
have to do it through a Mexican bank trust.
Correct.
And then you have to. It's like in with a civil law notary. You
Mhm.
make the agreement, and the bank is going to be the owner of the property, but you are allowed to sell it, rent it, use it, lease it, whatever you want.
So
The-
basically, the fideicomiso or the bank trust
Yeah,
holds the property in trust, but you, as the beneficiary of the trust, have the ability to purchase, to sell, to lease it, to improve it, to will it to your heirs. I mean, you get all the rights of an owner, except just the bank manages the property in the trust on your behalf. That's the only difference, right?
that's
Officially,
true. And the this trust lasts for 50 years and it's
correct.
renewable.
Yes.
So it's renewable for another 50 and for another 50 and for and
Right.
all the way
It's
long.
you can renew it every 50 years, right? But
Yeah,
the truth is, like, how many of us are going to hold on to a property for 50 years or maybe more? There's probably a small percentage, but the truth is, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to own it. We're going to will it. We're going to maybe sell it for a profit. Maybe we'll sell it because we're going to move on to another part of the world or whatever the case is. But the good thing is that it's renewable at 50-year increments. So that's awesome.
that yeah, and well, that's the only thing that it's different here.
Right, right. Well, let's talk about myth number 6. There's so many differences in the procedure, right? And what does that mean? In the procedure of buying and selling property in Mexico
Okay,
is not that different than the United States. And you know, Gonzalo shared this tennis court with us, right? And I kind of like the analogy of the tennis court. Talk why the tennis court, Gonzalo?
well, because as you can see, the tennis court is the court is the same,
Right,
but it's different depends of the number of players. If you're playing singles, there are going to be some rules, and if you're going to play doubles, there are going to be another rules.
right.
And also if the type of surface, if it's grass or if it's another kind of
Well, clay, they're like, for
clay,
example,
for
the
example,
willing,
it's different. The
right?
bounce of
Correct,
the ball, it's different. So
right.
it's the same court, but a little things are different. So
Just very minute differences, things that because see, I was involved in real estate in Mexico real estate in the mid 1990s. Like, I was a mortgage banker for a company that did loans in Mexico,
yeah,
and we'll talk about that as well. There's a company that's doing loans for expats, Canadians, Americans that want to purchase property in some regions of Mexico. So we'll talk about that. But back in the mid 90s, it was still in the development stages. Over the last 20 years, 20 plus years, the real estate market has changed so much that it's very similar. So I like the analogy of the tennis court because it's a tennis court. There might be some intricate differences, but ultimately the transactions are very similar.
yeah, that's true. And you don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, you don't have to be afraid. Now there are some differences, and here are some of the differences. This is an example of a property that's $250,000. Tell us a little bit about what these fees are and how they affect foreigners primarily.
Okay, the property, the base value is $250,000,
Okay,
and then I am going to add it as a foreigner. You have to add the trust, the
correct.
Mexican bank trust. This is a fixed cost,
Okay,
so it doesn't matter the value of the property. It's a fixed cost.
fantastic.
Okay, then the closing expenses, it's around 8 to 9% of the property value. And
Okay,
I'm going to give more details of this, but
okay.
it's you have to think that to have the deed and to be legal this property for to have it in your property,
Hmm.
you have to think about 8 to 9% of the value property.
Okay. And that 8
And
to 9%, we'll go over it in the next slide. But what is
yeah,
this key on hand package? Why the 17,500?
okay, many people here comes and they want to enjoy their property
Mm-hmm.
for some some days in a year, and then the rest of the year they are going they are thinking about how can I get something of this,
Right.
and usually they are thinking about rent it
Right. They think about
in a
short-term
short-term
rentals.
rental.
Right.
So when you are thinking about you cannot uh, rent a house empty. You have to rent it
Right. Well, you need furniture, you need beds, you need sofas, you
you
need,
need
dining
curtains, you need
table,
air
you need tables.
conditioners, you need towels, you need
Right.
linens, you need and everything.
So this is what the key on hand package would be, like, fully furnished, towels and the whole 9 yards, so that you can put your property in a short-term rental pool.
Yeah, you have to think that if you were a guest, how you would like to be
Correct, right?
in that
Right. Yeah, you
property.
want to make sure that if you're a guest at a short-term rental, that you have plush towels, a nice sofa, nice amenities,
Yeah,
wonderful furnishings, all that good stuff.
and well, these packages, you can have it. We have the links to the suppliers that
Okay,
can give you this package, and they can give you the curtains, the bed, the linens, the
fantastic.
towels, the whatever they want.
Right on. So you have resources that you can plug them into that they can find that furniture and those items that they need.
Yeah,
So essentially,
and you can think about like 7% of the property value.
mhm,
You can put it in the key on hand package more or less.
fantastic. So as you can see, we see here that this particular property as a base was 250,000. After the trust for the foreigners is 2,200. Your closing expenses are 22,500. Your key on hand package is going to be 17,500 approximately. So you're looking at a total acquisition price of 292,200 is an example of what it would take to if you're
Yeah,
buying a property at 250.
and you will have a property key on hand,
Excellent, excellent. All right,
ready to
so
use it.
let's talk a little bit about the closing expenses here. Like here in the United States, on average, our closing expenses are about 3%, 3.5%, depending on your purchase price, depending on your real estate tax base, depending on your insurance. And so that can vary. But in Los Angeles, on average, it's somewhere between 3 to 3.5%. So obviously, when you're buying in Mexico, when you're looking at these closing expenses, it's triple that amount, right?
Yeah.
So we want to understand, why is it that amount? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, these closing expenses are done by a civil law attorney. In Spanish, it's a notario público.
Mm-hmm.
And well, this attorney is going to do these things. The appraisal,
Mm-hmm.
it's very important. Then the acquisition tax,
Mm-hmm.
and this acquisition tax, it vary. It's different from a state and from the municipality.
So the
So
acquisition tax will vary from depending on where you buy and what state you buy,
yeah,
and then what municipality. Municipality means county. What county you buy?
exactly. For example, here in Cancun, it's about 3%.
Fantastic. Okay.
And in other parts of the country, it can be up to 7%.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
So
here
Cancun is actually pretty reasonable.
yeah, it's 3%. Is okay
Yeah, 3% is
when
okay.
you're comparing, no,
Right,
the
right, right.
things. And also you have to pay for the right for the property to enroll it in the property the registration office,
Okay.
and also the deed
Hmm.
and the fee of the attorney.
Okay. So that typically will round up between 8 to 9% depending on where you buy and your price.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about myth number 7. Typically, there's only properties for living.
And
Everyone
yeah,
says there's only properties for you to purchase so you can live in it. Well, tell us a little bit why that's a myth.
well, because many people say that like they're not building here more like new properties. They are
Mm,
going just selling the used ones,
mm.
and well, that's not true, and or it's partially true. We have like new ones and we have resell it. For
Right,
example,
like most communities, right? Like here in Los Angeles, obviously we have resale properties that were built in the early 1900s and the mid 1900s, 1950, 1960s, and we have another set of properties that might be sold in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And right now we're going through a big construction boom ourselves. So there's always a mixture of old and new, right? I'm assuming
yeah,
that that's the same way in Cancun and Tulum, is that there's a lot of developments that are currently being built that can offer you new construction, but there's also resale opportunities, right?
yeah. For example, as a country, we are the number one spot for retired Americans. And when they came here, they got the permanent visa. They have
Okay.
their working permit if they
Hmm.
want to do some job, and they
Nice.
have an official Mexican ID,
Wonderful.
so
So
they
they're
can
official.
move
So
right
they have
now.
a permanent visa. They have a work permit if they want to work in a local business, and they
Yeah,
have a Mexican ID.
yeah,
That's awesome.
and they can buy a resale property to enjoy it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
And if someone's interested, obviously we would point you in the right direction. We would put you in the right place with the right company to kind of help you through that process. So don't worry about that.
that's right.
All right.
But
So the second home is another opportunity, right? Not only just to live, but I would assume that most investors right now are thinking about a second home with a side business opportunity.
yeah, we have like this difference. There's the second home that they are not allowed to be in Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
but we have also properties that they have no problem. They are open to be in the Airbnb business. So it's you can have both worlds.
So let me ask you a question. When you say that there's some restrictions that you can't have a short-term rental or Airbnb, is that only in the Cancun zone or where is that?
No, it's for example, it's located in the Puerto Cancun zone
Oh, I
because
see.
it's a condominium, and the condominium is the decision is restricted in the
Oh, I see. So
zone.
it's not necessarily the city, but it could be the building or the development you're buying in.
Yeah, that's
Understood.
so
Understood.
that's
Okay.
why we put this split.
Right. And so if you were looking to buy as a second home plus a side business, then we would know which particular buildings and developments not to show you because we don't want to restrict you to that. We want you to have an opportunity not only to enjoy the properties you're going to buy, but also be able to put it in a short-term rental pool, whether it's Airbnb, VRB, or whatever other property management you guys use it for
That's right.
a
That's
short-term.
why a key question is to you are thinking about Airbnb? No.
Correct.
Okay, so we can focus on the other side of the.
And if they say yes, and this is where this the key on hand package is going to come in handy because if you're going to do a short-term rental, you're going to want to, you know, furnish it and give all the appliances. So now it makes sense that additional key on hand package cost.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's talk about myth number 8. I think this myth is on everybody's mind, right? Everyone thinks that you can buy a beachfront apartment, condo, or property, beachfront, for $150,000.
Yeah, that yeah, it's really funny to hear those
And
things.
I'm assuming, Gonzalo, that you've had several people ask you that. That's why
Yeah,
you see.
really, it's kind of funny that many people think that because we are south of the border, it's really cheap. No, no, that
Right.
it's cheap, but it's not so cheap.
Right. Well, look, real estate, whether it's here in the United States, it's in Mexico, anywhere in the world, it's going to go up in value over time. Like I said before, when I was in the mid 90s, you could buy a beachfront property in like Rosarito, Ensenada, probably for about 150, 200, $250,000. That is not the case anymore.
Yeah,
Property values have gone up just as much as they have in the United States. And in Cancun, I would imagine even more so just because they are like the Caribbean. They are the start of the Caribbean, the most sought after location. So it would be it would not be possible to buy a property at $150,000 that's
yeah.
beachfront.
Like
So
you have to set the
the
customers
expectation,
the expectation. It's beachfront. It's over $1 million.
absolutely.
The ocean view, it's $500,000,
Hmm.
and you can have a really best deal. Best deal is we're talking about 8 miles from the beach,
Okay.
from 200,000.
Well, so there's opportunities in every sector depending on
Yeah,
what you want, right?
yeah, that's right.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Like if it's beachfront, obviously it's beachfront. You're talking a condo tower. You're talking about maybe a house on the beach, not necessarily in Cancun because there's a lot of towers and condos there, but maybe a little further south, you can buy a home beachfront. There's what we call beachfront, and then there's like second row beachfront, right? Like not
Yeah,
necessarily a few steps off this. And we'll look at a development later on that's similar to that. But ocean view is what? Maybe a couple miles, 2, 3 miles from the ocean.
ocean Mars is like 1, 2 or 2 miles from the
Okay.
ocean, and you are in the 10th floor, up and up,
Hmm.
and you can see you have a clear view to the
That's
ocean.
not bad. I mean, $500,000 to be within 2 or 3 miles of the ocean, have a beautiful view of the Caribbean Sea. That's not a bad investment. And then
No,
if you want a best deal, like if you want, 8 to 10 miles out, and you still want to invest, and your budget is maybe under 200 grand, there's something for you out there as well.
that's right.
So let's talk about myth number 9, that there's only used and or resale properties available to buy, and that's just not the case.
No, not the case. For example, the house, the home that we um, previously saw, it's a 3 bedroom, 4 bathroom house with pool. It's 3 years old, 3 miles from the beach. It's 647,000.
But see, this is what we call almost new, right? It's not brand new because someone's already lived in it, but it's almost new. It's 3 years old, right? We have properties here that we consider new construction that maybe have been owned for maybe a year or two. So when we talk about resale, okay, cool, and it's 650,000. Here's an example that Gonzalo put together in terms of the location of where the beach is. Right here's
Yeah,
Cancun, right below where it says 3 miles, and the line star. That's the hotel zone,
yeah,
and
that's the
it's within 3 miles of that. And I would gather that off the second floor, you could probably catch a nice view of the ocean or the fauna. But you're talking about a resale property that is 3 years old. That's $650,000. Not a bad deal for a 3 bedroom, 4 bath property.
that's right. That's right.
And
But
you also have brand new properties.
yeah, and I can give you some examples.
So let's look at option number 1. What's this? Is this brand new?
This is brand new. It's
Okay.
it's a pre-sale. This is a second home. This is not allowed Airbnb, and
In
it's
this particular tower, they don't allow Airbnb. So this would be primarily a second home or your primary residence if you're relocating to Cancun, right?
that's right.
And I
And it's
appreciate that you put the map, you put the pin. This is right in an area called Puerto Cancun, correct?
correct.
So you're right in front of the Caribbean waters. You have access ways. It looks like you can have a yacht, some properties. I mean, it's a beautiful location,
Yeah, and you're on the beach.
and you're
On the
on the beach.
beach. Yeah, the profiles of this condo. It's a beachfront. It's a membership, international membership. Um,
Tell me a little bit about the membership. What does it include?
well, the owner of this condos,
Development?
yeah, it's an American. He's a Latino.
Okay.
He's from Miami, and he has another developments in the U.S. and
Okay.
he's also have developments in Dubai. So you can, if you buy here, you can also be in the resorts of LA, in Miami, in Dubai.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's
So you have a membership benefit. If you buy a unit here,
yeah,
you can go and use a unit when you travel. That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's
So right
awesome.
now it's in pre-sale.
And it's pre-sale, and it's going to be in September
So
2025.
the delivery will be September of 2025. Is this the first tower, or is this? It looks
No,
like
this is tower number 4. You can see the other towers that in this development, and it's 20 levels. 20
okay,
levels is the highest uh,
allowable.
allowed in here.
So it's 20 stories, a total of 118 units per tower, or at least in Tower 4,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
and
it looks like
it's the same in the other towers.
okay. And I'm assuming that the construction site for Tower 4 is just in this corner where we can see the crane.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. All right. And how much does that go for? What's the price on that?
Well, the amenities, just to know it, it's a beach club, it's a dock, wellness center, restaurants, pool, tennis. It's a restricted area, 24/7 security. So
And I'm
it's really
assuming that
good.
this is a private beach.
Well, in Mexico, there are no private beach.
Oh, I see. I
All,
see.
all of them it's public, but this is almost private
Right.
because you cannot access by foot. You can also
Oh, I see.
only
So
access
you can
by
only
sea.
access it through the development.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's almost like a private beach. That's awesome.
almost, yeah.
Awesome. 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 So
And
talk to us a little bit about like this is one property that you showed up that's in this tower.
yeah, for example, this is a fifth level. The surface
Okay.
is 2100 square feet, 2 bedroom, 3 bathrooms. It's for $1.2 million,
Okay.
and you're in the
Now,
fifth floor.
now this particular price doesn't include the furnishings. This is just an example,
No,
correct?
this is it's the example of the property value.
Okay, fantastic.
You have
So
to
let's
add
say
the other things.
we have another property, another example.
Yeah, for example, this is in the 19 level, and this is a 3 bedroom, 4 bathroom.
So
It's
higher up,
higher up,
better views, more square
mm,
footage.
more square footage, and it's 1.8.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And this is for a second home. We have another options. This is for side business, for example.
Okay,
This is located in 16 miles south of Cancun Airport.
we do see the hotel zone strip on the upper right hand corner, and it's 16 miles from the airport. So it's going to be further south, right? And this particular developer doesn't have restrictions in terms of short term rental. So you can have a side business and the
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
Okay,
That's the reason why we are making this offer to put it here. This is you can do it in Airbnb, and here is it's an ocean view. You
okay.
can have a beach access. It's in the second road of the of to the sea.
So it's a second tier from the beachfront.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
it's a pre-sale for October 2026.
So
And
delivery will be October 2026. So about 2.5 years from now, 2 years
yeah,
and a few months. And it's 16 miles from Cancun. Let's see what it looks like here.
yeah, that's the view. It's like you can see that there's a front construction
Correct.
of here. That's why it's in the second
It's a
row of
second tier
this.
property. You have a property in front who's direct access to the beach, but you still have access. You're steps away from the most beautiful beach in Mexico.
Yeah, and it's a seven level
Okay,
building with rooftop, and it only has 75 units.
fantastic. What are the prices going for this particular? And what are the amenities on this particular?
Amenities is beach access, pool, bar, co-working, gym,
Okay,
and the
co-working
prices.
is important, right? Because a lot of people are working from home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the prices are different. For example, for a second level, 2 bedroom, two bathroom, it's like 508,000.
That's not bad at all. I mean, half a
No,
million dollars to have this beautiful beach, second tier beach access with this view. It's amazing.
yeah, this is the property number one, and for property number two, it's a 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom, and the third level, it's 764,000.
Not bad. A little bit higher. Let's see. The other one was second level, one floor up.
Yeah,
Little bit larger in
bigger.
a little bit larger in space. 2 bed, 3 bath. You have
Yeah,
a balcony of 172 square feet, so you have some outdoor space
yeah.
for $764,000. Not a bad price.
No, no, and
Obviously, you're going to pay a little bit of a price premium because you're going to have a little bit more view. You're a little higher up, right?
that's right.
Okay. So
And
this would be ideal for a side business. What's option number three?
option number three, it's in 1 mile from the beach. It's
Okay.
in downtown Cancun, in what we call the kilometer zero. Of
Okay.
that's the beginning of the hotel zone.
I see.
So you are in the best of both worlds. You are in the beginning of the hotel zone, but you are in the downtown.
That's awesome.
And this is particularly for business.
So this is straight out. You're okay to do for short-term rental.
That's right.
I like that you put the map so we have a visual. A visual. Thank you.
Thanks. And the profile is ready to live. It's been completed in this May. It's
So it was completely built out May. It's ready to move in.
ready to move it. It's in the kilometer zero, and it's in downtown.
Nice.
And the development is 7 levels plus the rooftop, 62 units. We have two types of tourists that can be your guest, for the ones that come for holidays, and the one that comes for business,
Awesome. Awesome. Now,
because it's in the both walls.
correct. Now, I was looking at the rooftops on most of these developments. Most of them have pools, nice cabanas, like definitely taking advantage of that rooftop living. That's awesome.
Yeah, and here we have the amenities in the pool, like you say, in the rooftop, gym, co-working, the laundry because it's for the convenience of the guest, and a
Nice.
pet spa because, well, nowadays pets are becoming really
Like
important.
let's look. Pets are like their children, right? They have
Yeah,
their
that's right.
dogs, they have their little cats, and so that's awesome. What a nice little feature having a pet spa available for someone who's an animal lover. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome. And well, for here, the property that I'm going to share, it's In the first level, 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, but they have a lock-off system, so you can split this apartment in 1 bedroom, and the other one in 2 bedrooms. So you can have three types of, of styles to rent: one bedroom,
That's
two
pretty
bedroom,
awesome.
or the
So
3 bedrooms.
so basically you can do, there's three options, right? You can have, even with the lockup option, you can rent out the 3 bedroom, 3 bath to one family or one group.
Yeah,
If you lock it off, you have 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and a kitchenette that you can also do a short-term rental just on that section.
yeah.
And then the other section would be like the 2 bed, 2 bath that you could also separately do a short-term rental. So you have three options. And man, for $392,000 to be a mile off the hotel zone, it's not a bad deal. It's
No,
not a
no,
bad price.
it's one of the best deals.
One of the best. Obviously, you're going to be on the first level, right? Not on the
Yeah,
ground floor, but one level up. Not too bad.
and no, but well, there's another option in the fifth level. It's this is a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom
Mhm.
for 292,000.
Look, here's an example of being able to be within a mile of Cancun, within the mile of the hotel zone, and close by to everything that Quintana Roo has to offer for under 300 grand. I mean, not a bad deal.
No, no, it's
And you
really,
have the option that you can enjoy it for a short term and then be able to put it into a short term rental pool that can make you some money. Now, I
yeah,
know we've been talking about short term rental pools and stuff like that. And I know that Gonzalo doesn't manage that, nor do I. But Gonzalo has partnerships with some companies that do that. So don't be afraid. There's management companies that will partner with you, that will charge you a small percentage or a small fee per month in order to manage the rental, to clean the rental, and to wash all the towels and do all the maintenance stuff. So you'll have partners. So if that's something that you're interested, don't worry, we got you covered.
that's right.
So let's talk about myth number 10, right? And this is a big myth. Let's be honest,
Yeah,
right? Let's be honest, right? People are afraid of investing in Mexico because of things that happened to people in Mexico in years past, right? I know one in Ensenada, right? I forget the name of the development. It was a huge story back in the 90s. Someone had landed on a piece of land that was owned by a Mexican family in Mexico City. That family didn't even know that the property was being developed, that it was being sold in lots. Many Americans bought there from San Diego, from other parts of the country. They built their homes, and then lo and behold, the owners sued the developer because they didn't have the right to do that. And then those investors lost all their money. I get it. It is hard to trust. But believe me, things have changed for the better. It's totally different now. Gonzalo, share with us what some of those protections are today to avoid those situations.
well, the first thing I think is that you better call Hector. I think that's the main thing.
Right.
You can trust an American. Hector is an American, and you can trust your countryman, and he's going to be in contact with us, and
Absolutely.
we are going to be your ears and your eyes here, and we
Look,
are always going to work along with Hector to, and we are going to work towards for you to have your best investment here.
absolutely. I mean, one of the advantages that I bring to the table is that I have experience. Like I said, in the mid 90s, I worked in Mexico. I worked for a mortgage company that provided mortgages for Mexicans, pardon me, for Americans looking to retire in Mexico, Cabo, San Carlos, Mazatlan, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Nuevo Vallarta. So I have the experience because I've gone through some transactions. Back in those days, we closed 17 deals, and back in the mid 90s, that was a huge accomplishment because no one had done it, right? Things have changed, right? There's title insurance now in Mexico. There's a process to purchase. They want to make sure that that you have an opportunity to invest safely. Why? Because guess what? Like Gonzalo mentioned, there's over 8 million visitors to Cancun, and there's so many Americans that are choosing Cancun to retire in that it would be an error for them not to protect foreign investment, right? They want to make sure that people are making safe investments, that they're protecting their money and their assets, because that's an influx of more income to the local communities, to the local neighborhoods, to the local employees. So believe you me, you are going to be protected. Whether you buy here in Cancun, Tulum, or you prefer buying somewhere else in Mexico, the first thing you have to do is start out with a phone call We'll do a free consultation. We'll figure out what your requirements are, what your needs are, what your goals are, what your dreams are, what your budget is. That all has importance in deciding whether Cancun or Tulum is the right place for you to invest. So, I'm super grateful for Gonzalo for sharing some of his knowledge and going over some of these 10 myths. We would love to maybe invite you to come and visit Cancun, or maybe even meet with Gonzalo on your next visit so you can see some options for yourself and just see if it's something that will allow you the opportunity to invest in Mexico and create some passive income through short-term rentals and be able to enjoy, some of Mexico's beautiful beaches and what they have to offer. So, Gonzalo, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to meet with us. I'm so excited about being able to work with you, and I'm really grateful that you took the time to explain some of the things that Cancun and Quintana Roo have to offer.
Thanks a lot, Hector. And on behalf of Claudia, my wife, and me, I appreciate your invitation. And well, we are hoping to do um, the links that we need to for our customers.
Well, I look forward to it. And then remember, folks, if you guys do want to buy, you don't have to buy all cash. I have a company that's an amazing company. They're a Canadian company. They are financing using mortgages to be able to help you finance 70% of your purchase, 75% of your purchase in some cases. But hey, you're protected, right? You have a mortgage against the property. You're leveraging your credit, your history, your income, and you don't have to go in and buy all cash. So again, if you are interested in making an investment south of the border, reach out to us. Feel free to email me, call me, DM me. I'm all over social media, and we'll put you in the right place in the right hand so that you can make a safe investment south of the border. Thanks again. I'm Hector Aguilar of eXp Realty. This has been Foreign Investment Fridays, and we look forward to hosting you again in our next podcast. Take care, everyone.